Welcome back to the Cobra Trading channel. If you're somebody who's been trading for quite some time and you kind of have a feel for what you're good at, right? You know what you're good at, you know what you're not so good at, but yet you're still treading water. Don't worry, because I'm gonna go over a playbook for day trading. That way you kind of have a step-by-step process of how to really focus in on those winners and eliminate all of those nonsense trades. So first things first, you need to know what you're good at. And I think one of the best ways to go about doing this, and this is of course my opinion, is to just visualize the perfect trade. Visualize the way that when you see this setup happen, that you get really antsy, really excited. It's like your favorite because it's easy for you to see, easy for you to execute on. You know how to set up a plan. And that trade, when you visualize that, that is your setup. It could be multiple, it could be one, depends on where you're at in your trading career. But just know you need to have an idea of what it is first. So for this example, this is just an example. This does not mean you have to take this and trade it every single day because you have to do your own research. This is not advice, right? However, to continue with this conversation so you can get a clear picture, we're gonna take an example of a big picture daily breakout because that's something a lot of people can understand. And then we're gonna go through a criteria that you should probably be doing every single day to help you eliminate all of the nonsense and focus on the best ones. So with breakouts in mind, if you're not sure what that is, we're gonna look at a daily chart. When you look at a daily chart, it's a level that hasn't been breached before in the prior days. It could be weeks, it could be just 10 days. If a level was held for the past 10 days at $32 and the stock keeps hitting $31.99 and it can never break above it, well, when it finally does, that is going to be considered a daily breakout. So now that you have an idea of what your ideal play is, in this case, a daily breakout, you want to start with a stock market screener and try to figure out how to screen for that. Everyone's going to have different criteria. So in this case, you're probably going to want to look at stocks that are gapping up above 52-week highs. Maybe it's just gap up pre-market scanners that are gapping up over 10, 15, 20%. And from there, it's not just gonna give you all the breakouts. It's just not gonna happen that easy. I wish it was, but it's at least gonna eliminate thousands of stocks and narrow down to things that are important to you. Now, you're gonna need to be selective on the criteria itself when you are scanning. For example, you may have a weakness of trading stocks below $3. So you don't want to be scanning for stocks that are in that range. You can set criteria that it has a certain volume, a certain price level. That way you know that wherever you're looking at is an area that you're comfortable in. Now it's going to shoot out tons of stocks when you do scan. When it does that, your job at that point is to look at the daily picture of every single stock that pops in to your scanner and try to find where are the obvious daily breakouts. So that's step one. So after you've already scanned your stocks, you found out from the daily charts which ones are more obvious daily breakouts, right? There's no, this kind of looks like one. At that point, you're gonna want to go step two, and that is you wanna look to see if there's any catalysts or fundamentals, just something that's helping feed the move. Now, every trader is different. Some are just technical based. I myself more lean on the side of technical based. So you don't have to necessarily have a catalyst as your criteria. Again, these are just examples of how you want to think about a trade before you get into the trade. So don't take what we're saying, okay, I'm gonna write this all down and trade this for tomorrow. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying you need to have these steps. So once you have the step of looking at fundamentals and catalysts, if that is important to you in your setup, which in a lot of cases it can be, you want to find out what kind of catalysts are more important than others for you. What kind of fundamentals are more important to you? Is a low float more important than a higher float? Is a big market cap something you want to stay away from? Is anything that has warrants or any kind of offering something you want to avoid? Or maybe if it has high institutional ownership, you might really like that. So you need to figure out what your criteria is for fundamentals and catalysts and write that down now. Visualize the perfect trade and then write these things down. Don't do it like I do sometimes where I'm just like, oh, this looks great. Let me take this trade. And then you kind of like, okay, is this the best trade? No, write down what the best trade is now before you even look at the market. So that way when you come to the market, it's easier to identify. These are just some steps, but the next step is gonna be reviewing the technicals. Now I know we said at the very beginning, you wanna look at the big picture on the daily and see if it's a breakout, right? So it's obvious. Great, you did that. But now you want to zoom into the chart and look at different time frames. The 10 minute, the 15, the 30, the hour, the 5, the 1. You want to look at all time frames and draw your technicals, because there's going to be some important technicals that are going to be lining up differently on the different time frames than the daily picture. And you want to make sure you know all the key levels so you can plan out a trade thoroughly. If you just look at the daily and that's it, well, you better be just trading the daily, because if you're not, then you can easily get chopped around if you're trying to zoom in on the intraday and execute with just only the daily picture. After you zoom in and you've already drawn your support, resistance levels, those key levels that are important to you, you know the big picture's on your side, you've scanned for the stock, you know the net news catalyst, if there is any at all, and if that's important to you, you looked at the fundamentals, things are lining up. Now the next part that's super important is your plan and your risk management. So you always want to ask yourself the question, where am I wrong? So that way you can immediately know where you're taking your loss and you can size it appropriately. And then from there, you're going to figure out where you're going to be taking profits. And those are typically at key levels of resistance if you're going long, or support if you're going short and you're trying to buy the cover. Everyone covers or takes profits at different levels. Some people use EMAs, some people use VWAP, some people use extension above the mean. So there's so many ways to go about it. Again, this is just to give you an idea of how to be thinking about executing a trade before you even do it. Hopefully you're writing some things down so that way you can know what fits for you and you know how you like to take profits, because that's what's important. Stick to what you're good at. That's why we said at the very beginning, visualize what's the perfect trade, how you would execute it, how it makes you feel, how you would jump in it, because you know without a shadow of doubt, it's the best play for you. So you write that down, write all this criteria, and it's gonna help you eliminate a lot of the nonsense. And it could make you really, really bored, because you're not probably gonna trade as much as you do currently. That could be someone who's trading 20 trades a day to just 3 trades a day, or 3 trades a day to 1 or 0. So just be prepared for that and understand if you're eliminating things, then you are focusing on the right one. We want to thank you for watching to the end of this video and let you know that we're giving away an F37 GT fully loaded PC in collaboration with Falcon Trading Systems. All you have to do is comment below why you think you should win, and stay tuned because we're announcing the winner at the end of the month.